Pleased to be joined by head coach of the South Plains College Texans, Coach Steve Green, joins us. And Coach, a couple of big games for you, Midland and Odessa, Midland here, Odessa there, and you got a couple of wins. Maybe Midland not as convincing as it could have been, but Odessa, you got a pretty good win on the road, and that was a tough venue to win in over a tough basketball team.
Yeah, it was. Let's take the first one that you mentioned first. Midland's a good team. They've got some really good players, and I think they were a different club than what we faced the first time, and I think they were a different club than maybe what they've shown all season long. We did somewhat anticipate, a sense of desperation with them, and they gave us all we wanted. I know they had a couple of kids that had career nights against us. They're big, they're strong, and they matched up well with us, and caused us a lot of trouble. Got us in foul trouble, and everything that goes along with having a difficult night happened to us that evening. We couldn't control. I think his name was Trey Bowman. I think he went off for like a career night against us that night. So we were fortunate, probably, that the schedule had us playing them here. Had that game been the other way around, it could have really been up for grabs. We go to Odessa, and kind of the unexpected. I expected a very difficult contest that night. Once again, foul trouble hurt us with Yannick, setting early, and then something we have not experienced all season long was our point guard over there with us as well. But Terrence Durham came off the bench and really did, I think had his best performance of the season, or at least his most important one. And we went into half up 11, which was a little bit of a surprise. But all in all, it was you play Midland and Odessa back to back, and you're fortunate enough to beat them. Both you got to be feeling pretty good about where you are.
I tell you what, the Midland game, you can never underestimate the value of desperation. And I think you got to hit the nail on the head there. That was a team that needed to win pretty bad. And as you said, gave you everything you wanted and more. And so that's tough to sometimes coach gets, no matter where you're playing.
Well, it is, because I told our guys against Odessa as well. I said these two teams are, coming in, and they still have a chance to make a statement in this conference, and we are the front runner right now. So you can expect, you're gonna get your best shot from them, and it's probably gonna be that way the next 5 games that we have. I mean, everybody, this would be a memorable victory for Frank Phillips, tomorrow night, on Thursday night. Anybody that beats us at this point, it's more than just winning a game. It's beating the conference leader right now, and then you can't ever get away. You can't run and hide from the fact that the national polls have us ranked #1. So you beat the #1 team in the country. You may not have a great season, but you can always say years from now, well, we beat the #1 team. So and I try to get that across to these guys, that that's some of these people are playing for different things, but they're all playing to knock us off.
You talked about foul issues against Midland and Odessa, and frankly, you had some guys respond pretty well considering the situation. Stanton Kidd got in some trouble early against Odessa. You talked about your point guard Smith getting in some trouble early. But again, you talked about Durham, and there's other guys that just really stepped up, I thought, and played pretty good basketball, and they just absolutely had to get it done.
Well, one of the strengths of this team is we do have a lot of depth, and we're pretty deep at every position. Obviously, we take Yannick out of the game. We don't have another 6'11" shot blocker, but we do have some other people. Anthony Walker has spelled him at times and done well. I was glad to see Alex perform well the other night. It's that's something we've been looking and basically waiting on for most of the season. So hopefully he's coming around at the right time. We're strong at the guards. Obviously Marshall is a very potent threat, but Malcolm Miller's sitting over there in the wings, and hopefully we can get him back on track. Tymel Murphy's had a good season, had an outstanding game the other night, which is why a lot of guys that normally play didn't get to play as much. He was really into what was going on, and provides a lot of defensive toughness and offensive aggressiveness.
And you talked about a lot this year about guys playing in positions, and Tymel Murphy may be one of the guys we overlook a little bit.
Yeah.
That kid is as good off the dribble, I think, anybody right now in the conference. He is just really quick.
He got through a seam the other night that I could not believe. He came dribbling from the right side facing the basket over the top of the circle and penetrated through the lane. And I'm telling you that the two guys, one guy had him and another guy was coming to close him off, and somehow he he kind of wedged his his pretty strong wide body through this seam and laid the ball up. And he was doing that early in the season, and he kind of went through a spell where he was, he wasn't completing those shots, wasn't finishing the plays and what have you. But hopefully that game will give him some confidence and he's back to where he was.
We could point at points all day long against that Odessa team, but your defense did a lot of good. It seemed like Odessa took some shots they weren't normally going to take. Seemed like you forced them into a lot of turnovers. And Odessa never really looked comfortable against your defense.
No, I don't think they did. We did a really good job of hedging all their ball screens. And for the first time this season, I think we did a really good job of rotating and picking up the roll man. And that's something that we've not done well. I know we really got exposed over at New Mexico on the pick and roll over there, but we did a really good job the other night against Odessa, and we'd walked through it and covered it and covered it and covered it, and it finally, it kind of sunk in. What we did not do well, I don't think, and it is a point of emphasis with us, is when a guy just lined us up and just said, I'm just going to drive you without a screen. We had a difficult time with that, and consequently, what happens is your backline people end up getting in foul trouble. And, Yannick and Stanton and those guys are coming across and they're getting there a half a second late, when a guy just drives the ball to the basket on you. And so they come across and try to make a play. Consequently you get the block, the block charge call that seems like it always goes against us. And a guy comes across and tries to make a heroic block at the last second, and it's usually a foul and things like that. So it puts our big guys in foul trouble. So, our guys on the perimeter, and we've edited a tape, that I'm sure they'll enjoy watching about, all the times that they just lost containment, on the ball, and they've got to start taking some pride in the fact that, hey, I stopped my man. If he comes at me, I'm going to make him turn, and we have to define to them what a good defensive possession is, and then they've got to go out and perform it. And that's the next step that we have to take, I think.
And it really becomes the key. It's not necessarily guards that get in trouble over this thing. It's those guys underneath. As you talk about Stanton Kidd coming across to help, Yannick Barrera, and they're quick guys, but even the quick guys are going to get themselves in bad situations.
Yeah. Well, they're coming across to help someone who made a mistake, and so that's what we've got to correct out front, where they're not coming across to save them, at the end. It gets frustrating, that you're getting the foul for somebody else's mistake, defensively. So, but we're going to start working on it a little bit more, and it will become more. It'll become more of a attention getter, I guess. We're gonna try to place some emphasis on that, I guess.
You get an interesting stretch now. You have Frank Phillips coming to town on Thursday night, but now all of a sudden you line up a few home games. You got that trip to Howard wedged in there, and trip to Nemi at the back half of the year. But it's got to be nice to show up on your home floor several games here down the back stretch. Yeah,
the schedule now is a little friendly towards us in that we have Frank here, we have New Mexico Junior College here, we have Western Texas here of our last 5 games, and so that's nice. But it doesn't. It just means that we've played all those people already. I'd rather be sitting here in our situation than some of these other places. Odessa's got a tough road to finish. Howard's got a tough road to finish. Midland's got an extremely tough road. Their backs against the wall. They can't lose it. I don't think they can lose again, or they could mathematically be eliminated from the playoff picture.
Kind of an interesting situation on the backside where everybody's seen you now, everybody's broke down videotape. Now, does it come down to more execution now as opposed to what sets you run, when you want them, and when you run them?
Oh, probably. It probably comes down to a whole lot of things. Probably what frame of mind your players are in. We do a lot of talking to various guys right now and try to impress upon them the importance of, we need to get on a roll and you need to be playing at the top of your game, and if there's anything that's distracting you from doing that at this point, I don't think that should be, I don't think you ought to allow that to happen. I talked to a former player of mine today. We've been texting back and forth, and this is his senior year, and I told him that, I said, you've got 4 or 5 games left, and each and every day and each and every game that you play from here on out, you got to treat it as an interview for what you're going to be doing next year. You know, if you fall down now, you know, when things are going to get tough, you know, there's a chance you're not going to get to do whatever it is that you want to do from here on out. And it's kind of the same thing with you know, particularly our sophomores, you know, that are looking to, you know, they want to win out, and then they want to, you know, obviously go on someplace else. Well, hey, they're getting ready to be on stage right now, and a lot of judgments and determinations about their future are going to be decided here in the next 3 weeks, I guess, and March 15th or 22nd or whatever it is, you know, if we're allowed to continue playing, it's over, you know. So now here's your body of work. You know, what do you have to show for it? So it's an important time, and you know, my assistant's done a good job, I think, trying to keep everything in line as far as you know, all the off-court stuff and you know, activities and things that we have them doing, and getting them over here in the gym and shooting and things like that, and making sure that they're not getting, you know, behind in classes and stuff, because it all of a sudden becomes very, very busy here in about 2 weeks, and that'll determine their futures.
All right, Coach, final thoughts for us before we get ready to go to the floor against Frank Phillips on Thursday.
Well, we're looking forward to playing at home. It's nice not to have to get on the bus and ride 2 hours to go play. So the next 2 games are at home, and hopefully we'll have a good crowd, you know, and wind up the home schedule, you know, in a positive manner, and get ready for the regional tournament.
All right, Coach, appreciate your time as always. Thanks for dropping by. Look forward to catching up with you later down the road.
All right.